Okay, so pick on. All right, so let's show you some more. Hi to me, dear. All right. So, guys, let's go straight into topics. So, my name is Tom. I'm actually the marketing manager here at AOE Chinese. At first, I was working part time with AOE Chinese, and now I had the wonderful opportunity to work full time right here. So, I have officially joined this company now, my dear besties, right? And so, I've been here for about a week, and I do want to share some of my experiences working here. So, we're actually a very loving team, a very international team. So this AOE Chinese, like this whole department, we have like students from all over the world. We have Siham. Siham, she's like a Moroccan student, right, my friend? And she's in charge of the sales. She's more like an intern right here. We also have Sarker. Sarker, he's the one that goes around to pick up students. And Peter is mostly in charge of the sales, right? Peter has graduated from a Chinese university with a bachelor's degree. And we also have, I think that guy's name is Marco. Marco was originally he graduated from an Australian school. Oh, hi, my dear bestie, Blue. Thank you so much for the like you're sending me today. Thank you, right? And we also have some overseas staff right here. Unfortunately, we will have to decline this for now. Oh dear. And we have some two overseas staff. One is Cedric, and the other one is Sheila. They work remotely for us, right? And we also have, and also occasionally we have international students that they do come here and shoot short form videos for us. They interact with us. They do different kinds of part time work. So the first thing I can feel about this AOE Chinese team is that it's an international team consisting of members from different parts of the world. And as such, I have this wonderful opportunity to use my English skills to the maximum extent possible. Okay, so who else? We have two Ys. All right, hi two Ys, nice to see you. Hi 1TF, nice to see you today. Everybody, it's my great honor to be here with you at this live show. And I also think that not just speaking of the non-Chinese co-workers here, I think there's a lot of bonding and friendship inside this company. For example, during our fifth Ihatoo Chinese festival, I could feel that everybody's so interconnected, and you can get help from other coworkers easily. There's very good team atmosphere, very good team vibe. Like everybody's just working for the common goals out there, trying to achieve the KPI that the company have set for themselves. And I think the pace of work here is actually very fast in this company, right? And like we have goals here, like monthly, weekly goals, and then monthly goals, and maybe just after we have like one event, the next week, then we'll have another event, my friends, and everybody will try their best to work hard for the next event for the next month. Okay, so who we are from AOE Chinese. We are a company specializing in studying China program, HSK exams, and Chinese language courses, the ZOA, 0 to 1 adults, right? And through this past event that we had, the 5th Ihatoo Chinese Festival and the International Student Startup Conference, we have many international students who are already coming to us to inquire about our services. Like they want to learn Mandarin, they ask us, hey, how do we pass HSK4? How do we pass HSK5? These sort of questions, right? And so, guys, I know that there are some of you who are asking us about applying for scholarships for Chinese universities, or if you're trying to gain admissions into Chinese schools. Unfortunately, the deadline is already over because we're already in September. The new semester already started. But don't worry, guys. If you're still interested in applying for Chinese schools, please feel free to drop us a message, right? We can evaluate your situation and determine the best course of action for you, okay? So let's go and get down to the straight point right here. What was this event like for the past? What have I been doing here as a marketing manager here at this company? So most of my duties right here, I've been doing loads and loads of translations, right? We have our WeChat channels. Hi guys, why? Welcome to the streaming session. Hi Ove and Fuchq. Your name is Fuchq, right? Fuchq, hi, and OmiQ and Frank. Hi guys, very nice to see you today. And AJ, very nice to see you all. Guys, if you have any questions about our product or services, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below, right? And so for me right here, I've just been a market manager. My job is to translate all the kind of documents, like we post like WeChat articles on a weekly basis, right? Because it's all written in Chinese, I have to translate everything right into English. And also, I translated a lot of important speeches for different leaders from different industries, different companies, different schools, right? That was for this past event, right? Before the event, I had their whole speech, their whole script. I translated the whole speech into English, and multiple copies of them were printed on the table to help international students better understand the contents that was carried forth by the leaders of those companies and those schools, right? And I also gave like titles and descriptions for different short form videos that are created right here, like because we have loads and loads of videos, right? And they often need like a title and a description to help people better understand what exactly is the short form video about. Right, I've also been doing event promotions. I've been promoting to different kind of like Facebook groups, WeChat groups, right? Trying to get people to know about our services. In fact, that I found a few potential clients here for a company. And guys, if you really want to study in China, or if you have any concerns about studying in China, please feel free to message us, right? Studying in China is a very complicated process from the pre-arrival, like the document checks, right? And you need to go through all the approval process from the university. You need to submit your documents, and then once they approve your application, they can issue you the provisional letter. Also, the provisional letter, they will also offer you your the final letter, which you can use to apply for a visa in the end. So albeit the process is very complicated. We have very good partnerships with some universities in China. We have lots of knowledge about this whole process, so we can help you on that one, right? Now let's talk about this event, this past event right here. So for this event, I was doing like a lot of simultaneous translations, right? We had a host right here for this event. His name is Royu Zhao. He's actually one of the CEOs of the. He's one of the CEOs for this company right here, like for a big think tank. It's called Xiyuan Think Tank, and during the whole ceremony or during the conference, startup contest launching ceremony or the entire conference, he was the one that was giving speeches once in a while, and then so I have to cut inside of him to do some translations so that the other international students there they can fully understand the contents of his speech. And he was also the one that was directing people to do things. For example, please come up stage to take a group photo. So, dear honored guest, it's time for you to share your stories. And also, he was the one that introduced all the honored guests, like stated what their names were as well as their job titles and positions, so that when they come on stage, people know who these people are essentially, right? So and for in order to translate his whole speech, I actually put a lot of effort in because the night actually before the meeting started, I stayed in this office until like 11:45 or 12 a.m. to do his whole translations, and that was a chunk of work. But these days, I must say that having worked here for such a long time, I feel like my English skills, my translation skills have improved dramatically because in order for me to translate some very professional terms, right, I had to go online to search for a lot of information, my friends, right? The English terms for different associations in China, English terms for different like professional statements or maybe some economic concepts, some concepts inside of like in different industries, right? So that was a big help for myself. I really appreciate working here. And now on the conference that day, we did listen to speeches from different keynote speakers, my friend. And these are some of my feelings and thoughts behind it. So these days, like China is becoming the number two economy in the world. We know that with Deng Xiaoping's economic reform and opening up policy, China has grown from China has grown from a economic like one of the very underdeveloped countries that at that time be I think in 1978 China's GDP was actually just one third of the Southern African like GDP per capita was only one third of the South African continent. And if you're looking at what China has established in the last 40 years, we have really lots of like amazing achievements. For example, we have the very nice high-speed railway which runs from it's like all over different parts of the world. I mean, different parts of the country now. And China has very good airline services, and there's like very good delivery at nighttime, which I did mention in my previous live streaming. And we also see that China is actually a leader in some of the world's. I'm not saying the best leader, but China is one of the top leading countries in some of the major industries in the world. We know that the Chinese government has invested heavily into clean energy. Like back in the days, there was like a lot of coal factories and mining factories that are used to generate electricity. But now in China, if you're looking at the northwestern part of China, a lot of it, oh my gosh, my friend, it's just like all the kinds of like solar energy or solar energy coming from the northwestern part of China. So even I myself, I'm also amazed at China's development. And like back in the days, I think it was in the 1980s or the 1970s to up to the 1990s, it was mostly the Chinese people. They're dying to see what the whole world outside of China would be like, right? Because never exposed to so many different things that there are so many things that they've never been exposed to. They never had access to those technological advancements. They never had access to a lot of the tools, equipment, or maybe some of the most advanced knowledge, right? But we see that this trend is actually quite reversing these days. Many people, they really want to know what's going on in China. What is China producing these days that is far ahead in the world? So right now, I think there has been a major shift in the trend where more people are coming to China to learn about China's technology, to learn about what China has produced in the past 10 to 20 years, because we know that in the past 10 years, China, we have witnessed like a huge growth in all sectors of Chinese economy. And that is why, in order to actually learn these things, right, in order to learn about China, in order to better understand the developments in China, it is important to learn Chinese, because with Chinese skills, it's actually very, you can read like the documents published by the Chinese government, or research papers from Chinese research institutions, or news in China, or maybe just certain things like movies, or maybe like a technological invention here in China. In order to better understand these things, you must have Chinese skills, and we see that there has been a growing demand over the world for people to learn Chinese. It's not just like if you're coming to China, I need to learn Chinese, right? Chinese language is actually a very important language in many parts of the world these days. We know that in the US, for example, English is the first language, and then we have Spanish as the second language. And because of so many Chinese people going there, and because of Chinese influence in the whole United States, in the whole country of US, we see that Chinese has become a third language. These days, right? The third most important language in the U.S. Similarly, Chinese is the third most important language in Canada, because at the airports we see that English is the first language, and then the second language would be French, and the third language would be Chinese, right? And also we know that in Southeast Asia, in these kind of countries with a lot of geographical proximity to China, and also a lot of Chinese immigrants in those countries historically, and because of the ties in those countries, Chinese is also an important language. We know that many overseas Chinese parents these days, a larger number of them, they do wish their kids can actually learn Chinese at home, because they know that their children can get a lot of opportunities from learning Chinese language. We know that back in the past, a lot of parents, they probably, hi guys, welcome to the streaming session. Hi Rosa, hi Kingra, nice to see you. I'm very happy to see all of you right here, okay? So guys, if you have any questions about our company, about our services, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. Drop us a question. We're happy to answer your questions in a timely manner, my friends, okay? And guys, just as I mentioned that there's this global Chinese fever, like a higher demand for foreigners to learn Chinese all around the world, it has become ever more important to learn this language. Like you need it for your work, you need it for increased payment, especially if you're trying to come to China for development, if you want to be involved in China-related projects, like you need to deal with Chinese people, then Chinese is a very important language to learn, right? So here at AOE Chinese, we have two kinds of language services, right? One is for learning Chinese, right? One is for the HSK exam, right? HSK, because these days, if you're trying to obtain a Chinese visa, if you're trying to get in a Chinese uni, they will need a certain level of Chinese skills, and the proof of your Chinese skills will be indicated by your performance on the HSK exams. We know that HSK 1, it goes up to HSK 6. And if you take the HSK courses, we can teach you systematically. And guys, if you want to learn some real practical Chinese that are related to your everyday life, or just things that are essentially very helpful for your everyday conversation, if you're just wanting to learn Chinese to achieve the direct effect of being able to use Chinese in your daily life, we also have the practical Chinese courses. The practical Chinese courses, we include everyday topics into it. For example, like dating, ordering food, or getting certain kind of like delivery services, or filing complaints. It will include some of the most popular topics. And guys, for those of you who is curious about what China is these days, you want to study in China, you want to come to China to get a different experience, you want to experience the different culture, or if you just think that China's educational programs is very advanced these days due to China's like technological developments, due to China's investment into the educational sector, you really want to apply for Chinese universities, you can ask us. We know that university applications process in China is very complicated. You need like a police certificate, you need self-statements that you've never used drugs before, and there are like all kinds of like necessary documents like transcript or letters of recommendations from different unis, right? And before you actually start the application process, we'll tell you what you actually need in order to to secure your chances of getting into one of those Chinese universities, right, my friends? So basically, if you have any questions about studying in China, or if you are concerned with studying in China, you can ask us. We'll give you the right advice. We'll evaluate your situation and tell you what your next course of plan is. And we also have a program. It's called iHelp. iHelp is like a direct service for international students who just arrived in China. We go to the airport, we pick them up. We tell them what they need help with, right? Or if you're just an international student, you really want to work part time for us. You want to collaborate with us. You want to help us expand our businesses, right? We also have different opportunities for you as well. So that's something you guys can definitely just focus on, my friends, right? And guys, and now let me go over this whole thing with global Chinese fever, right? We know that in many educational institutions around the world, Chinese has become a mandatory course. For example, as far as I know, like in Russia or maybe in Southeast Asia, they've added Chinese as one of the mandatory foreign language skills to learn. So it's like their mother language, English, and the second language next to English will be Chinese. So Chinese is actually the third most important language in many other parts of the world, right? So what I can see from this conference is that China has grown tremendously in its global influence. So has Chinese language. Chinese language has grown to another level of significance due to China's rising status as an economic and cultural powerhouse, right? And people are feeling proud of having native Chinese skills, right? Or maybe just Chinese proficiency. And so, guys, if you really want to learn Chinese to the same level as my English, you can feel free to message us where I can give you the best advice. So that is one of my feelings for one of my intake for this meeting, right? And also another thing from this conference, right? Also another thing I do want to mention, it's also one of the most important points that our one of our keynote speakers has mentioned. Like China started the Belt and Road Initiative back in 2014. We know that China had been like an empire in the ancient times, but dating back to the Yuan dynasty. I think it's the Yuan dynasty or the Ming dynasty where there was this voyager, Zheng He. He actually went all the way down to the Western Atlantic. He sailed his boats to the east coast of Africa, to many parts of Middle East as well, and also he sailed to Southeast Asia. We know that China has, in the ancient times, China has a lot of connections with the countries along the major trading routes. And we know that it is President Xi Jinping's policy to rejuvenate the Chinese nation through the ancient maritime Silk Road. And also there are some inland Silk Roads, because like China, if you're looking the whole country of China, we can connect China with Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Russia, and Europe, right? We know that there is this long railway extending from Beijing all the way to some places in Germany. Like all these countries are connected. They are connected by the railroad, right? So with China's One Belt and Road Initiative, right, China has tightened its relationship with countries around those regions, specifically the large developing countries in the world like Iran, India, or Bangladesh, Pakistan, or certain places in Southeast Asia like Thailand, Malaysia, right? So this whole Belt and Road Initiative, it really has a huge global influence, and because of China's initiative, China has a lot of investment projects, a lot of opportunities in those countries, and China is actually hiring a lot of people from those countries, right? A lot of Chinese companies have chosen to set up their overseas branches or firms in the countries along the Belt and Road region, and so China has also adopted favorable student policies or services for students from those countries. So if you happen to be from the Belt and Road countries, there are more scholarship opportunities for you, and generally speaking, it's much easier for you to apply for visa, right? And if you're doing some sort of startups from if you're doing some of startups along those Belt and Road countries, or if you're trying to do some businesses between China and your home country, which is along the Belt and Road region, I mean, you're also going to get the financial backing from the Chinese government. You're also going to have the government giving you some form of support, right? So if you can take advantage of China's initiative, that'd be great, right? And so, guys, don't forget what we are. We We are a company that specializes in studying China services, Mandarin courses, and HSK exams. So if you have any trouble with those, please feel free to message us. You know that studying in China is a huge decision, and also Chinese is a very difficult language to learn. And without systematically learning Chinese, is actually very hard for you to fully grasp this language. And that is why we encourage you to choose one of our instructors right here. Our instructors, they have multiple years of teaching experience. They've dealt with students from all walks of life. They also can help people based on their actual level. So if you take an assessment with us, we will look at your actual level. You tell us your need. We'll design the right course of learning plan for you. So please do stick to us, okay? So we have a few friends here on TikTok. Hi guys, welcome to the streaming show. It's my great pleasure to see you today here at AOE Chinese. It's a very lovely and fancy day. I'm very glad to meet you right here. Okay, and the other intake from this meeting, from this conference I had with the keynote speakers, is that we did mention the importance of learning Chinese language and culture. While we know that many people they see the opportunities in China's market, they see that China is a leader in a global leader in so many of the industries, right? They don't really understand Chinese, but they still want these opportunities. But it's very important to do it, right? Because you're gonna have to be reading the papers in Chinese, and you're gonna have to deal with like Chinese coworkers, Chinese intergovernmental organizations. Even if you're in your home country, let's say if there's a Chinese boss that's going to your home country, he or she is doing business there. Of course, I would naturally expect this Chinese person to have some level of Chinese skills. But if you can speak Chinese, I mean some level of English skills, right? But if you happen to be able to speak Chinese with them, the connection can be much deeper. Especially if you have like this local company right here, like it's actually this group of it's actually this if you have like a group of Chinese people working in your home country, right? In order to be able to deal with those group of people, it's at best to learn Chinese skills, right? And only by learning Chinese language and Chinese culture, you can really understand their mindset and be able to do business better with them. Because if you learn the language, you get the mindset, you know how people interact, you know how people socialize, you know the etiquettes behind those people. So that is why we encourage you to learn Chinese culture and language better, especially if you're trying to develop in China for the long term, right? If you're trying to be in China for like 20 years or 30 years, or if you want to find a Chinese company that can give you unlimited opportunities, it's at best that you have some from like Chinese skills, right? And another take from this meeting is that like because in China these days we have like so many international students here that want to study in China and work in China, right? China is opening up the doors for you. China is welcoming a large number of international students these days, but we also know that China wants to increase the quality of international students here because back in the past, I think maybe 5 years ago or even 10 or possibly 10 years ago, like almost anybody can apply for a Chinese uni. The bars to admission is very low. All you need to have is a foreign passport, and there's not a lot of like documentations, verifications. And actually, back in the days, I believe that it's much easier for international student to graduate from a Chinese university, right? But nowadays, if you look at China's educational resources, it's been on the rise. Many of Chinese universities have been within the global 100 these days, and I think China has 100 universities among the global. Let me take a sip of water. Thank you. Many of China's universities have also been, like China has more than 100 universities within the global 1,000, right? And because of like the funding from the Ministry of Education or from the Chinese government, many universities can offer promising scholarship package to international students who are applying to those programs. We know that because of China's investment, China has the best labs for like engineering, for medicine, and also these days, some foreign students they come to China to learn business or economics or finance, right? Because China is like relatively advanced in those fields, and there's like a lot of money pouring into the education sector. Many international students want to take advantage of it, but China also finds out that there are many international students who are not able to complete their degrees successfully or fulfill their standards for the university. So that is why China is increasing the bars for overseas admission or the bars for international students to study in China. And if you want to apply for a master's program or if you want to do some startup businesses, there's like requirements for a GPA, requirements for a degree, requirements for an internship. So guys, if you're coming to China, right? If you're coming to China to study, it is advised that once you arrive in China, you work hard in your studies, you try to get better grades at school, and before you graduate, you should try to find some research opportunities, right? And you need to have like great recommendations from professors. Try to maintain a positive relationship with your professors. In fact, it's not very hard to do if you're showing up to your courses punctually. If you're doing your homework assignments responsibly, like you're not cheating on your professor, like you're just being a completely responsible student, chances are high that your professor will like you and will offer you letters of recommendation. And after you graduate, your professor can connect you with different internship opportunities or different employment opportunities, right? And also another advice I will give you guys, and I've also been mentioning right here before. Oh, it's all right. So guys, unfortunately we had some technical delays right here, but we're back at this channel. We're gonna continue giving you. Um, We're going to continue giving a review of our past event right here, the International Student Startup Conference, right? It was a very great conference. We know that if you really want to work in China after you graduate, if you want to find jobs right here, if you want to have a long-term development, it is important to set your grounds, like get internships or do some startups, or maybe have your professors write amazing letters of recommendation, or maybe just all these kind of things, or maybe like or just try to or try to get into some leadership positions, right? These are going to look favorably for you, right? And I also remember what our hold on one second. I also remember what our the dean of the other university said, right? If you want to do a startup, you must have like 3.0 out of 4.0 grade point average, right? You also need to have 2 years of work experience. And guys, if you have any questions about studying in China or starting a business in China as an international student, or post graduation work placement, feel free to contact us here at AOE Chinese. We have a very professional team that can help you get the results that you want. We have a team that can assist you with the whole process, and will ease all of your concerns. Will lead you through the whole process with the full degree of professionalism. Right, my friends. And another take from this meeting, from the conference, is that um, we want to talk a little bit about the different kind of a very popular industry these days, right? Because like so many of the things, like we have like metaverse games, right? Metaverse games go to one of the gaming factories, or maybe one of the play PC station. Now they just put a goggle on and let you play games in the virtual world. It's called AR games, right? And also, our company Ihatoo, we had metaverse education where you people they put some sort of like equipment goggles on. They will feel like they're using Chinese in a world that appears to be real, but in fact is not real, right? And we also know that cross-border e-commerce is very popular these days because, like, China is trying to expand its business relationship with so many of the other countries around the world, especially with the Belt and Road Initiative. The trade relationship between China and those developing countries have grown stronger than ever, right? And also, these days with like TikTok, also all the social media, many Chinese companies that are trying to take advantage of the social media platforms to promote their businesses overseas and to reach out to potential Chinese potential overseas clients. So companies that are creating robots, machines, or maybe like different big data companies where they just extract all the information from different individuals and they come up with the conclusions like a business plan, a business model, right? They take data from different places and analyze those data and use those data for decision makings or business models, or maybe these data they can be useful for analyzing consumer behaviors, right? So big data, that's also a relatively important field these days. And guys, also another thing right here that Miss Dr. Farouk has mentioned during this conference is that there are like lots of complications with setting up businesses in China. You need like lots and lots of paperwork. You need lots and lots of approvals, especially if you're a foreigner right here. The procedures with taxation and company registration can be a bit more complicated and difficult, right? And especially if you have like some language barriers here in China, because like if you're trying to register a company or uh, or file your taxation records, you'll need to have solid Chinese skills, right? So guys, if you do have some sort of like trouble just trying to register your businesses here in China, please feel free to contact us. We can also help you with entrepreneurship and company registration, right? And I do also want to talk about some of the achievements that we had for this event, right? So before the event, Mrs. Wang kindly invited four foreign nationals to speak to the expats in the event. She wanted to talk to them, even if their Chinese skills are not that great. It was absolutely fine. We just wanted to talk to different foreign nationals here in China about their experiences here, their experiences getting married in China, starting their business in China, or finding a job in China, or what do they feel about touring different cities in China, right? So Mrs. Wong had the chance to speak to six of those foreign nationals. These foreign nationals, they are from all walks of life. They're from all different nationalities. And Mrs. Wong, when she interviewed them, she used the Chinese that was the amount of Chinese that was on par with their Chinese skills or Chinese level. Okay, so that was a great take. I mean, she had the chance to speak to those six foreign nationals, right? And during this conference, we had the roundtable discussions. We actually have two rounds, right? During the first round, there was this one African student. He was extremely interested in entrepreneurship. He even actually started his own company, trying to create an app where universities can create student-centered communities, online communities, and he's trying to establish partnerships with different universities here in China. So he asked us some very insightful questions, right? The Q&A section was very, very nice indeed. And also, this time we had a more diverse background, like we had international students from all the world. There were students, not, because, in the previous two events, it was mostly students from like Bangladesh, but this time we had students from like Pakistan, India, Germany, Russia, Morocco, Mexico. It's pretty much a huge mix of everybody, and they were extremely interested in Chinese culture and entrepreneurship. They did take a lot of notes during the meeting. They did come here to get resources, build connections with the company, right? And we also had a few overseas agents who were really interested in working with us and spreading our businesses and letting different people to know about our company. I think through those past few events, AOE Chinese had a has become a very, very huge brand here in the Hangzhou region. Many of the foreigners, they already knew us through the past events, right? The Ihatoo Chinese, the Ihatoo Dragon Boat Festival, the Ihatoo Lunar Festival, and also the startup event launching ceremony. All these events right here, they had magnified, you know, they had increased or they had increased the fame of our brand to a very large extent. So that was a great thing we had right here. And also, let's see. Now I want to mention. Also, I do want to mention some of the other things like because during the event we did the live streaming. There were also photo shares. There were all people shared our photos. There were like lots of views, likes, and comments, and people absolutely liked our stuff. It was really amazing, right? It's during the live streaming, there were all the people that was giving us like, and they were also clicking on the share button for live photos for the event. So there was very good social media data. And guys, really, if you happen to miss out on our event, you can watch our event replay or look at the photos, right? They were really amazing indeed, right? And guys, don't forget who we are. We are from AOE Chinese. We're actually a very professional company specializing in Mandarin services, HSK exams. Monkey, thank you for your follow. Yay. Monkey, thank you so much, dear. Monkey, so can you tell me a little bit about yourself? We really like to talk to you. We are actually a company that helped international students with studying in China. We have like studying in China services, HSK exams, and also HSK exams, also ZOA courses. ZOA is 0 to 1 adults, right? For people with zero Mandarin skills, we help them build their Chinese proficiency step by step. Our classes are fully fun and interactive, and we have professional teachers here. And they've dealt with students from all walks of life, and they could teach you all the knowledge that you need to be able to properly communicate in Chinese. Or if you're trying to pass some form of like HSK exams, that's totally fine. We can help you with that, right? And now, guys, I really want to make some closing statements right here because like we know that the time is almost up, right? So during this, and then after this whole event, we had the Ihatoo Chinese Festival. Okay, the Ihatoo Chinese Festival, that's actually our fifth Chinese festival. So this company just had its 11th anniversary this year. This past Saturday, the company has undergone lots and lots of difficulties in the past few months, right? Not in the past few months, in the past 10 to 12 years, right? And the company has overcome those difficulties and survived. And like we have so many overseas Chinese students, and now we're expanding to the non-overseas, non-Chinese student market, and that's why we had this brand right here, AOE Chinese. So this is actually AOE Chinese, like its very first year. Okay, this is the very first year for AOE Chinese, right? This brand actually never existed before, and through 4 months we've grown hugely and tremendously. Okay, and now if you look at our social media account or WeChat channel or on TikTok account or maybe other social media platform, you will see that in just 1 month we had 1,500 followers, and that's a lot of people. And through those past events, as I mentioned, AOE Chinese had a lot of influence in the Hangzhou region. And in the upcoming 8 months, 5 months, we're planning to go to 8 different cities. Monkey, please don't go. Lovely bestie monkey. Monkey, are you still here, monkey? Okay. In the past, I think in the next 5 months, we're gonna visit 8 different Chinese cities, and we're gonna do the startup conference in those cities. We'll talk to different international students. We'll meet with different universities, right? And we're going to select the winner of the startup contest, right? So not only do we want to be here in Hangzhou, we actually want to be all over China in different cities like Shanghai, Wuhan, Nanjing, Ningbo, Shenzhen, all these different cities, so that all the international students here, they will get to know about us, and they will have trust in us. Okay, so please, so guys, just know that Ihatoo is not just a company that will help overseas Chinese students pick up their Chinese roots. It's also a company that will help overseas. It will help non-Chinese population. It will help the non-Chinese people to explore their possibilities in China and learn about the fascinating aspects of Chinese culture. Okay, my friends. So that is the mission of Ihatoo. We want everyone in the world. We're not just serving overseas Chinese. We're serving the 6-7 billion population in this world in learning about China and Chinese culture. And if you happen to watch our live streaming, my friends, there were like a lot of amazing performances at the event. People were dressed up in hanfu. We're saying traditional Chinese songs and modern Chinese songs, right? And there were also poetic recitations, right? And also there was this very very interesting stage where different coworkers, they started pouring the chocolate on the table, right, my friends. And we also had the guessing. Bye, I'm leaving. Don't leave, my friend, don't leave. Okay, we also had the guessing games, and for the guessing games, some of the about Chinese culture, and some of the foreign friends, they participate in the guessing game, and we also gave awards to those who won. We had the tongue twister contest. We also had the Chinese poem contest. Right, there were different kind of contests that was held. There were different kind of contests in the conference that actually made it a lot more interesting and allowed people to learn about Chinese culture. And then they also cooked amazing Chinese food. It was like steamed fish, fried beef, corn with acorns, salad, ducks, roast chicken, fruit plate, all kinds of Chinese food that you'll find in modern Chinese restaurant. And guys, I must say that overall, this is a really, really successful event, really amazing event. And we had so many international friends here attending this event. They built trust in our brand, and we hope to that in the future AOE Chinese will grow stronger and bigger. And guys, let me remind you who we are. We are a company specializing in HSK services, studying in China programs, and ZOA Chinese courses. If you have trouble learning Chinese, if you have any concerns with studying in China, guys, please feel free to follow us and message us, and we're gonna make things a lot more easier for you here in China. Okay, so my friends, thank you so much for watching today's live streaming. And if you really, really want to get the chance to work with us, or if you want to study in China, if you have any questions here about studying in China, okay, studying Chinese, or if you have any concerns or questions about studying in China, please feel free to message us. Thank you so much for your time, my friends. Have a very, very nice weekend. Bye bye, my friends. See you. All right. Bye. Bye, my friends. See you later. See you later.